Hey, what's up, bootstrappers? This is Ryan Nickel coming at you with another Motivational Monday, and I'm coming from my wife's rig. Yes, going down to, had it worked on it last weekend and forgot to put a part back on. Whoops. Don't worry, it's just an engine cover piece, so it's nothing major, just only cosmetic. And then I'll be back home. So anyway, I wanted to go ahead and drop this Motivational Monday, how to use hope to get a sale. And what I mean by that. So here's the thing that I have noticed with a lot of, and I did this too myself. When I was first getting into real estate investing, I was so desperate to get a deal that all I was doing was, whoa, this dude just like straight up pulled out right in front of me, probably because I'm doing 50 in a residential. Yeah, so who would be at fault? Probably me if I slammed into him because I'm driving just a tad bit too fast for my neighborhood. Anyway, I'll digress just a little bit. So yeah, when I first got started, man, I was so desperate. I was extremely desperate to get a deal. And maybe desperate's not the right word. I was extremely motivated for sure, definitely. But I was also like, I was hungry. Like, I need this deal. And so there was a bit of desperation. And what was happening is I was talking to sellers and I was just like spitting up all over myself. Like, oh man, I want this deal. I can help you. I can do this. And I was like almost too needy. I was so needy for them to want me in the transaction that I was repelling them. And my mentor, he told me, he's like, dude, you got to slow down. Like slow way down. And just like take it easy, man. You're like on the first date asking this person to marry you. You're like, geez, like hey man, let's go like 0 to 60. Let's just go to Vegas and just pull the trigger. And they just barely met you. And that's a huge turnoff. And so that happens a lot, especially when you're going after like, pre-foreclosures and stuff like that. You're just like going after these people and you're like, hey man, I can help you, I can save your house, I can keep you from having foreclosure on your record, I can save your credit, I can give you cash, I can help you move, all kinds of crazy stuff. And what ends up happening is like you end up just like spitting up all these things and they're like, oh, I don't know what's going on. You confuse them and stuff like that. And so you actually want to use hope in this regard, like, because what happens is, and I can talk to this personally, I went through a foreclosure, and when I went through the foreclosure, I had my head in the sand. I was completely ignoring everything that was going on. I had this like idea that someone was just going to go out there and like literally knock on my door and say, hey Ryan, I know you're having a bad time with your house. Let me help you. Here's some money. Here's your monthly payments for like 6 months, and you'll get back on your feet and take care of stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I need. I would fantasize about this stuff. And guess what? That never happened. No one ever came. It's like crazy. Like, who thinks this stuff? Well, I'll tell you who thinks that stuff. People that are in foreclosure. That's who. And so I'm like, okay, gosh, you know what? You have to think about these people. Like, where are they at mentally? Like, what's going on in their mind? Like, what would possibly get them to even think, like, how can I, like, oh my gosh, this guy's going to help me. And like, that's really like the mentality. So like, when I'm going after pre-foreclosures, I don't just like go there and like, hey, I can help you. Hey, I can keep you from having a foreclosure on your record. Hey, I can bring your payments current. Hey, I can give you some money. Like, they don't care about any of that stuff. Like, especially in the first conversation. Like, that's the problem. Like, you're like, knock on the door like, hey, give me all your money right now. It's like crazy stuff. So what I do is I use that hope that is in the back of their mind. They're hoping that someone's going to come and save them, come rescue them, come help them out of their bad situation. And what happens is they avoid everybody else because it sounds too good to be true, or like some crazy stuff, or you're just like you're going too fast for them. So I got a little bit like my throat. So anyway, what I do with them is I go, okay, you know what? Hey, I'm interested in buying your house. Or I'm interested in coming, is your house for sale? I'm interested in coming and taking a look at your house. I'd like to buy it from you and give you some cash. And I'm looking at what's that next step. And the very next step is to go and take a look at the house. And so I don't tell them how I'm going to do it. I'm just giving them, hey, if this is an option for you, I'd love to come take a look at the house and, buy it from you, give you some cash. That's all I say. I want to buy it. I want to give you some cash, because I know 9 times out of 10, I'm probably going to do a subject to. I'm probably going to do what I would term a skinny deal, because there's not a lot of equity there for me to fix it and flip it. So I'm going to keep it in my portfolio as a rental. And so I'm going to do a skinny deal, but I'm not going to explain that to the person like, hey, can I take over your payments? Hey, can I do this? That's way too far further down the road that conversation. So all I'm doing is like, hey, I'm leaning on that hope that I know that they have, and that hope is like, hey man, I'd love to give you some cash. I know you're in a bad situation, and I think the cash can help you out. You know, if you're interested, let me come on by. Hey, thanks, Kelly. And so this is what I do, and this just happened about 2 weeks ago. So this kid, he had a home, he inherited the home from his dad, and he fell behind on the payments, couldn't keep up on the payments, and the bank was taking the house. And he's done. He's already he moved out, washed his hands of it and everything. And I contacted him, and what did I say? I said, hey man, I'd love to give you I'd love to buy your house. I'll give you some money for it. So he's like, yeah, come on over. When can we meet? So we decide where we're going to meet, and we meet at the house. I go inside. I'm walking around. I'm looking at everything, and I'm like, oh man, this place it's pretty tore up. It wasn't like tore up in a bad situation. It just was a lot of junk, a lot of stuff. The kid has some drug issues, and so either he let somebody in the house or he himself like just kind of trashed the place. He said he didn't, but I mean, I don't care really. Honestly, I really don't. I'm going to buy it as is. So I'm walking around, and so he has this hope that, you know, somebody's going to give him some cash for the property. So I'm walking around, and I look at the house, and I look at him. I go, hey man, you know, I'd love to help you out here. I'd love to buy this property from you. And I don't know if you guys can see that sexy truck back there. It says, I buy houses. That's my house. That's my truck. It's parked there for advertising. Sadly, I'm not getting any calls. No one wants to call my truck. So there, I'm in the house with the kid, and I go, you know, what would you like? You know, what would make this deal work for you? He's like, well, you know, $60,000 for sure. I need $60,000 cash, but no less than 50. No less than 50 is my bottom line. $50,000, you can have this house. And I'm like, $50,000? Dude, I would love to give you $50,000. I think that's a fair price. Let's look at some numbers here. How much do you owe in this place? Oh, I owe one. So I get real serious with them. I'm like, $50,000? I think we could do that. You know, I think you deserve that kind of money. So we start looking at the numbers, and I go, man, you owe $113 on this thing, and you're behind like $15,000, and it's also like, you know, it's only worth $130,000. I go, so 113 plus 15,000 to bring it current. What is that? He's like, I don't know. It's like, you know, he pulled out his calculator. 128. I'm like, yeah, 128. And it said, what's it worth right here? And I showed him like the Zillow's estimate. And the Zillow's estimate, I mean, because that's what everyone looks at. They look at the Zillow's estimate. He goes, 130. I'm like, yeah, bro. Man, dang it. I can't give you 50,000 for this thing. I would like to. I really, really want to. But if I gave you 50,000, I'd be overpaying for this thing, and I'd be in a bad situation financially. According to this, and I show him the Zillow thing, I said the most I could pay would be $2,000. And that's if it's all fixed up. I'm like, look at this place, man. It's not all fixed up, man. But I'll tell you what, I would be willing to help you out. So now here's what happens. I get into the house because he has hope. He has hope he's going to get some cash. Now his hope is dashed. He's like, oh man, dang it. I'm not going to get my $50,000. Now I'm going to get nothing. Because this guy's telling me that he only can afford, the deal only affords $2,000. And in its current condition, it doesn't even warrant that because it's trashed. Which it was. I mean, it totally was. I actually ended up paying some dude. I probably paid about, I think I paid $2,000 to get it all cleaned up, actually, to tell you the truth. I gotta go back and look at my actual numbers on this one. So he's now like, oh, all right, okay, well, what's going to happen here? And so we go through the process. I have a system for this that I go through. I walk them through, you know, how it works, what's going to happen and all this stuff. And we come back to it, and I said, look, man, I really want to, after I showed them everything that could potentially go wrong with the property if you just left it as is and just walked away. There's some serious things that could happen to the guy. So after sharing all of that information, I go, look, man, I really want to help you out here. And the best way for me to do that, honestly, is just to take over the payments. I would bring this thing current. I would pay that $15,000. I would do that for you. And still on top of that, give you another $2,000 for your time and your troubles, and just to help you out on your, you know, where you're going right now in life and stuff like that. And just, you know, I'm sorry for the loss of your father. And he goes, dude, you would really do that for me? You would do that for me? Man, $2,000 is better than nothing, man. I can't have nothing. I really need something. That $2,000 would really save me right now. Can you please do that? Can you please help me, Ryan? Will you help me? What just happened? What just happened in this conversation with this guy? I'll tell you what just happened. His hope was completely taken away and then brought back again with reality. And a realistic expectation, but I set his expectations, and realistically setting his expectations, I had the dude ready to go and exactly where I needed him to go, and I helped him out. I gave him $2,000 cash. He signed the property over to me, put a sign out in the yard, got the place sold. Had a family that was going to bring $26,000 down and take over, and then pay me monthly, of course. And that's exactly what I did. And that's how I helped this guy. And this is what you guys can do too. This stuff is so simple. It's so easy. You're blessing the lives of so many people. And all it really takes is one deal like this. Now, it wasn't $15,000. He underestimated. It was actually $21,000. But this family gave me $26,000. So do the math. 21,000 minus 26,000 is $5,000, or 26,000 minus 21,000 is $5,000. Now I did put some money into it, put about $2,000 into it. And I gave the guy $2,000. But when it was all said and done, I walked away, I think with roughly about $1,200 in my pocket. Oh, big deal, $1,200. And but I got monthly cash flow of $300 a month on this deal, and that's what I really wanted it for. I didn't care about the cash, the down payment. I wanted the cash flow in this deal because long term, 30 years, $300 a month, you do the math. That's what I did this for. You see, guys, you're just one deal away from changing your entire financial future. And all it takes is one deal. Learn how to leverage people's hope. Get there, manage their expectations, bring them so that they come and they follow you, but use that hope towards your advantage. Leverage that hope. Use that hope so that you can get in the door. It's all about getting the appointment. Don't try to close them on the phone the very first time. I know guys are like, I close guys all the time. One time close. I'm a king, man. I can do this all the time. That's great. That's awesome, man. I'm proud of you. Good story. But the reality is, get inside their home. These relationships, it's about relationships. Get that next step, which is the appointment. You need to sell the next step, which happens to be the appointment. Get in there, then have those conversations, then close them, then make the money, help them transform their lives and your families financially, and that's how you do it, guys. All right, I am at the mechanic, like I mentioned, and he's telling me to come on in, so I actually want to put this down so I don't fall off the ramp. So I'll see all you guys later, but remember, all it takes is one deal.